Hey everybody, it's Matt Ferry from Avid here once again at the Sundance Film Festival, introducing you to some really cool editors here with projects at the festival. One of those editors is our guest, Gabriel Rhodes, has a film called Gaucho Gaucho here. I know a little bit about the film, Gabriel, but why don't you help fill in the rest? What is Gaucho Gaucho about?
Gauchos are Argentinian cowboys. They live up in the hinterlands, up in the middle of Argentina. They were rebels who fled to those areas and then sort of have this sort of land of lost in time, and that's what the film is about. It's sort of about this place that sort of exists outside of time. It's a beautiful film.
And how did you find this project? How did you get to be on it?
The filmmakers previously made a film called The Truffle Hunters, which I had seen and loved, and they reached out to me because they had seen some films that I had cut, and so we started a conversation, and I knew that if it was anything like The Truffle Hunters, I wanted to be a part of it, and so we clicked and we started working on the film in July. Did a pretty quick edit.
Really?
Yeah.
And so when you looked at the script for the first time, what did you think? What notes did you have? What kind of things do you look for?
Well, there was no script, right? Because
Well, that makes it harder.
it's a documentary, and so they basically shoot everything almost like a narrative film. Everything is done in one take. They basically set up a scene, and say it's two people in a conversation. They set up the camera in one, sort of perfect spot. It's beautifully framed, and then they just let those people talk. So as an editor, my job is basically to find the one section of that 1 hour clip that will kind of aligns perfectly with other material that they've shot to build a story out of that. So there's really no alternate takes, there's no cutaways, there's no any way to manipulate the media. So it's kind of like building a bit of a house of cards, and everything has to be in just the right place for it to kind of work as a story and as with momentum.
Okay, so I definitely want to ask you more about that. I guess the thing I should ask you first is your editorial setup. What was the editing system? What was the workflow? What was the dailies process? Because I definitely want to ask you about the other thing you just mentioned.
Yeah, the dailies process was basically they would when I came into the project, they had shot about 3/4 of it. So my first thing was to go through and watch every one of those takes that they had done, and then I have a huge corkboard in my edit room, and we made screen grabs of each one of those scenes. And the beautiful thing about shooting a film like this is that frame grab literally represents exactly that scene. So you kind of in your head, you know exactly what that scene is and what it's trying to do because it's only that one take. So kind of line them all up onto a big corkboard and just started sort of sequencing them. And then you realize, well, this story isn't really complete. What are we trying to say about this character? How are we going to fuse this character with that character? And they went back and they were able to shoot another quarter of the film in Argentina, bring that footage back to me, screen all those dailies again, and then try and sort of readjust the entire cut to fit that material in.
So that process, I can't quite tell if for an editor it's a plus because you sort of have a better idea of what it is you need to do and doing that sort of paper edit on the wall, or is it is it kind of restricting in that you don't have a lot of places to go, like you said?
I thought going into it, I had just finished a 2-year edit that was really extensive and very complicated, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. This film will have about 60 cuts all told in the film. This will be a breeze, And it was so much harder than I thought it would be because it really is. If things don't really align, both through an energy and through story and through dialogue, you don't really have a lot of options. So it's less of I'll intercut within this scene to fix it, and more of I have to macro cut the entire project to make it work. So it really was a matter of watching it almost every single day, watching the entire film down to understand how it was working. And there's no scene work to do. It's really all about the macro.
So are there any specific tools within Media Composer that could help you in a situation like that or that you relied upon to help build that narrative?
I mean, the best thing was just being able to output quickly at the end of the day and really be able to screen it over and over and over again. I mean, that way that the Avid workflow is perfect, and I think that creating multiple versions of everything is just like, that's the only way to do a film like that, right? Every day I would be like, here's 3 different versions of the film, reorient everything, send it off to them, let them look at it really quickly and adjust.
How about your assistant? How did you work with your assistant or assistants on a thing? No assistants?
No assistants, just me, yeah.
So you really thought this was going to be an easy gig?
I should say we did have assistants in Spain who were doing the ingest of the media and stuff like that, but it was really a matter of me finding all this stuff,
So they're doing the ingest in Spain. Where are you cutting?
I was cutting in New York.
Okay, so what was the process there for getting that media around?
They were ingested. They would send the drive from Argentina to Spain. Media would be ingested in Spain and then uploaded for me to download in New York. Yeah, we were really all over the place, like across multiple continents.
Well, that seems to be a recurring theme here, not just at Sundance, but in general, that people are more spread out all over the world doing these films. I asked you a little bit about that style of the way you put the story together, about it being restricting, or is it a little better? What was the most challenging aspect of working on this project for you?
I mean, I would say it's that I think as an editor, you come in thinking you can kind of manipulate things to work in your best favor to make the story the best story you can make. In this case, you're really limited with those choices, and so you had to take a more holistic view of the entire process and the entire film. And it's more about creating a mood, or it's about, there's different nuance to how you're trying to communicate this story than just, okay, this character is motivated by this, so therefore this would happen. It's a little less of that, and it's a little more esoteric and mood oriented. Yeah.
So when you're not cutting festival darlings and getting ready for Sundance, what types of projects are you working on usually?
I mean, I'm usually cutting feature documentaries. That's been my bread and butter, fortunately. I've been able to be lucky enough to make a living doing that. And I mean, it's great. Every film is different. Every one of them presents a different challenge. I'm doing stuff that's interview-based. I'm doing stuff that's verite-based. I'm doing stuff like this that's more artistic. So it's a nice variety of material. And I also tend to consult on projects as well and help, sort of shepherd some younger editors through the process and try and give notes on projects that are challenging for them as well.
Well, I should ask really quick before I let you go, because I know you got things to do. When you talk about talking to younger editors and offering up advice for them, what are the kind of things that you might say most often to up-and-coming editors?
I generally tell them to just keep their nose in it, because the hardest thing, each project is so difficult. I think you come off these projects after a year-long edit, you're exhausted, and hopefully you can kind of retain your passion and not be frustrated by the process, because the process is the goal. I think you have to enjoy it while you're doing it, and keep that passion alive so you can keep moving forward.
Well, the process definitely is the goal. Getting to Sundance isn't bad either. Gabriel, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Okay, well, there you go. The film is Gaucho Gaucho. It's a documentary. Sorry, it's cold out here. My brain freezes. I can't remember which is a documentary, which is a feature. But stick with us on Avid Social anyway, so you can learn more about the films that are here at the festival and meet more incredible editors here in Park City.